Hey, this is Professor Ken. Thanks for joining me with this session. What I want to explain to you today is some reasons why your target market might buy your product, which is great, right? Because that's what we want. We want to sell our product into that marketplace, and it's important for them to come along to that journey and buy the product. Now, let's think about the beginning of this process. Remember, we were talking about as a marketer, we have to solve a problem. We have to find a need and fill it. Because if you need something, that's when you're going to go out and start looking for it. And that's where your search normally starts online, and you start evaluating the choices. We go through that consumer, that buyer behavior process, right? We evaluate what's happening, and we look at the opportunities, and we make a buying decision. So we want to be able to have that consumer buy that product because we're solving their problem. We're filling a need. So that's really the number one reason why anyone would buy your product, is because you have an answer to a problem that they have. You have a solution to a need that they've been looking to fill. And that's really the beginning of why someone would buy your product, and specifically your target market. So let's talk about the target market in general first, before we go into why that particular market would buy a product. So the target market should be defined as someone who has been researched and that has a vested interest in what you're trying to sell or produce. And so a target market is like individuals that when you make a presentation to them, when you show them your product or service, they say, oh yeah, I understand that product. I could appreciate that product, and perhaps I'll consider it to make a purchase. So now when we do our market research, we're looking at that in complete target market, and we're starting to understand why that particular target market will buy the product. Now we have to do the research in order to get that understanding. So let's think about a scenario here. Let's say you made a skateboard, and a skateboard is basically a plank of wood and with wheels on it. But in this case, your skateboard is really nice. It's made of fiberglass. It's very light. It has really strong wheels. It's one of the better skateboards. In fact, it costs a little more money to buy the skateboard. So the average or beginning skateboard user might not use it. So now if you think everyone in the United States uses a skateboard, which is 300 million people, let's say, you know that automatically half of them are not going to want a skateboard that's too expensive. So you can knock that complete market down into half. So let's say into 1/3 maybe. So 100 million people might buy a skateboard, okay, at this price range. But then from that 100 million, you know that half of them are not going to spend $150 on one skateboard because they're not avid users. So maybe there's only 10% of that. So in this case, there's only 10 million users that might buy the skateboard. And because this skateboard is specialized, you know that only 10% of them would probably buy it. So now you're down to about 1 million total possible users. So now you have a big market, you segmented it down, you drilled it down to really your target market, the target market that would probably buy your product. Okay, let's call it 1 million people. Now in those million people, it's made up of different individuals, right? You have women, you have men, you have teenagers of both sexes, you have young adults, you have older adults, you have people who work, people who go to college. So it's broken down into all kinds of different likes and interests, pain points. Eventually, we want to segment that down into maybe 4 groups, because 4 groups is more manageable, because when we message out to them, we're sending them a like message, right? So maybe all the young adults, female, who are in college, maybe all the young adults, male, who are in college, maybe all the older adults between 25 and 45 that are professional, and maybe all the older professional women that are 25 to 45 that all use skateboards. Okay, so we have those 4 buckets. Now we can send out the message to them, and we have to understand why they would buy our product. So they see the product, and we have these features and benefits. Every product should have a feature and a benefit. A feature is something that you do really good on your product that creates a benefit to the consumer. So this feature, like the nice on the skateboard, has really nice, soft, large wheels. The benefit is that they'll last longer and they go faster for a skateboarder. So that's a good benefit. So you have to explain that. So another reason why a target market would buy your product is because the benefits that they get from buying that product are superior to any other competition that's out there, right? What else would they think? Well, what about price? If you're competitively priced versus a competition and you add value and they see the value there for the price, now you might be more expensive than the competition, but the difference in price is made up in the quality of the product. So the target market sees that. So another reason they might buy your product is because your value proposition is stronger than the competition. Yeah, you're more expensive, but you present a lot of better features, a lot of stronger benefits, a lot of higher quality to the product. So that's another reason why. So far we've got 3, right? We're solving a problem, filling a need. The features and benefits make sense. The consumer's getting a lot of benefits from the product. The value proposition is stronger than most. That's why a target market would buy the product. Another reason why is maybe your customer service is better. Your support, maybe you offer free repair on the skateboard, or you can call 24/7 and get troubleshooting ideas, or maybe you have a team that can fix things, or support centers or repair shops and things of that nature. So maybe your service is better than the competition. So that's another reason why your target market might buy your product over the competition. And what about all the other added value things? Maybe you have videos, maybe you have bonus points, maybe you have replacement opportunities with the products. All those add up to bring more value. So the better value you bring to your consumer, the more likely they'll make a purchase. So the target market is going to buy your product for a lot of different reasons. It could be price, it could be style, it could be benefits, it could be the features, it could be the added value, it could be because your proposition is better than the competition. It could also be the marketing that you do. It could be the return policy, the refund policy, the exchange policy, customer service, the technical support. There's a lot of reasons why a target market could buy into your product. Now, your job as the marketer is to really understand what all those reasons are and focus in your messaging so that you could be successful every single time you're trying to sell your product to your target market. Now, remember, you've already done the research on the target market. So you should know their likes, their dislikes, their pain points, their challenges, their objections, what the competition is doing. You've done a SWOT analysis. You have all this information that you can use to properly position your product in the marketplace correctly. Positioning, remember, is not where you're putting the product, but where the consumer thinks your product is in terms of all the competition that's out there. So those are some of the reasons why your target market would buy your product.